I know for a fact that most of the world isn't aware that we've actually already created single cell life. It exists. The seminal paper on it came out 3 years ago. So we now have fully functioning synthetic cells, which are created with nanotechnology and some of those. And I could get in the weeds on what that nanotechnology is, which it can self-replicate. And so what this means, if you sit back and what this means.
Wait, so man has created life?
Technically synthetic, yes.
And by what is it? So, but if it behaves independently and it's self-replicating, then aren't those the criteria for life?
Well, that's a whole philosophical debate. And
yeah, I don't want to believe it, so I'm happy to have the definition readjusted, but
yes,
that would be the obvious definition of it, right?
And there's also synthetic cloning now. So you can have an agent if you know exactly a pathogen or a cell, and some of this isn't advanced. So if it's a more complicated cell type, for example, you might not be able to replicate that, but you can now synthetically generate a virus to match the virus. And so what that means is you don't have to have the actual virus. You don't have to collect a sample anymore. You can just have the code and you can generate it. That's where we are now.
Right.
And that's for viruses. Now, if we're talking
text me the code and I can make the virus.
And I believe we'll be there in the near future with bacteria. And with synthetic life, though, you can generate very radical things, because what this means is we can make what it would be defined as a single cell synthetic organism, which does different things that don't exist. And it has massive potential good uses and bad uses. The good uses, you could use this, and I could see this being popular among scientists funded by the Borlaug program at USDA, where they use this for pest control, and you could make it so it was very specific, the synthetic cell or organism or bacteria to target something like a pest, like a grasshopper, for example.
Or white people.
Well, we're going to get to the other side of this. That would only target a specific species defined to a geographic region, so you might not worry of it spilling over into some other insect population. In theory, okay? This is sort of what I'm talking about here is the emerging future trend of this. Now, on the nefarious side of this, how is it going to be used? We're no longer talking about living things. So you can engineer a synthetic pathogen to attack equipment. So you can have that synthetic organism produce an acid that would eat metal. You could have it produce a biofilm which would attack metal underwater, like a submarine. This technology is being developed right now at a handful of places. Some of it's in the United States, much of it is, some of it is not. Most of the places it's being developed are friendly to the United States or our allies. But this synthetic threat is rapidly emerging. So that's the biotechnology side. Now, if you take a look at, and I know I've been watching your show, recent episodes, AI has been a big hot topic, and there's tons of investment going into it. We're going to see a fusion between this synthetic biology technology and AI. And it's probably on the 4 to 5 year horizon. And the AI will be programmed into the microcircuits systems of the nanotechnology. It's a fact. I mean, like, you're going to use the best software, the best programs. You can get onto basically a nano computer within that cell, which does the programming. This might sound like crazy science fiction to a lot of people. People would say that's not possible.
No, I don't think anyone would say that's not possible.
I can point to a peer-reviewed publication where they're doing all the components of this, and it's just a matter of time before someone gets wise and assembles it. And there's going to be plenty of financial motive to do this. So there's no stopping it. And that's what I'm saying here. There's no stopping where this is headed. And the reason why I say that, the Trump administration it did some great work with Russia trying to negotiate a new biological treaty.
I just want to apologize in public for every moment I've defended like our economic system, because like any system that allows something like this is a bad system.
Well, I don't. So all technology is dual use, right? It's like firearms is a classic example. A firearm in a good person's hand is a tool to defend and protect yourself, your family against tyranny. In an evil person's hand, it's
nuclear power, nuclear bombs. I get it, but you just have to assess the downside risk realistically as compared to the upside benefit. And I think with the technology, nuclear technology, I believe this, and certainly true with everything you're describing, downside risk way far outweighs any potential gain. You live to 110, okay.
So I'd argue this. I can completely agree with the upside and downside risk of this.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is there's no stopping it.
I believe
and this is why what I was going to say related to President Trump and the Trump administration negotiating a new biological treaty with the international community. Well, one, looking at history back to the 70s, I don't think it's going to be effective. So the existing biological weapons convention we have is outdated. It focuses on select agents, basically, that which can be weaponized through gain-of-function technology. They baked a loophole into it to develop countermeasures. That's vaccine technologies and other prophylactics. And you can engage in the gain-of-function technology, bioweapon development, if you're developing the countermeasure. And they couldn't get anyone to go further past that with having inspections. And I don't see that posture, especially today in today's climate, changing. So
we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. The basis of international treaty, of course, is trust. And there's none. So no more international treaties.
Well, I hope I'm wrong
too,
you're wrong.
But I just don't see it right now.
Well, I think that there's a path forward, and the path forward to...
Wait, before we get to the path forward, can we just get to a broader description, more precise description of what the marriage of nanotechnology to AI means? What does that mean?
Sure. So the marriage of nanotechnology to AI means that the nanotechnology will have swarm-like capabilities. So people, or the general world, is probably more familiar with swarm technology around drones. They're using this and they're testing this, and they're trying to field these rapid swarm technologies. And if you watch these large displays of drone shows that you see commonly in China, that's really them just openly testing drone swarm technology.
Yep.
And that's the civilian, this is cool tech application. But there's actually a much more sinister application of that same technology for defense, dual use technology. So imagine that these pathogens are like these drones and you see them operate. AI will control the swarm technology around the synthetic pathogens so that it can control their behavior. And then also that the machine inside the synthetic cell can adapt to its environment without any human construction or code or decision-making.
So what would that look like?
In terms of...
Well, I don't know. I can imagine a drone swarm. I've seen one. What would that mean? So you have synthetic cells that are controlled by a computer, and then they do what?
Well, they would... Use cases always help define what that is. So in a weaponization scenario,
yes,
you could use this to deploy a container. Maybe it looks like a bomb into an ocean where a submarine is. The synthetic life could be magnetic and attract to the hull of a submarine. It would attach itself, and then it would make decisions about where it should collect on the surface of the submarine independently to create a biofilm and self-replicate to basically cause the sensors or to disable the submarine in some way. In space, use a similar type of, maybe, I'm not so sure what the delivery vehicle is, but say that you were to get this onto a satellite, you could use it then to eat and corrode the silicon and magnesium and the structure of that. You could use it to basically disable the systems on board of the physical structure of the vessel or the satellite. And that's just, what's really so striking about this is this technology will be able to use to attack objects, but it's a synthetic living thing. There's also the life. So there's a new fork here. You can use it to attack objects, or you can use it to attack life itself. And that's more what people would be familiar with. You could use it to attack specific genetic populations, for example, So if a certain population had a genetic trait, you can make the synthetic pathogen specifically target, name your niche of race or population of genetically related, close related
How about
families.
the ones who were given fentanyl and denied jobs in the United States? So, no, I'm just being super dark, but honest.
More difficult probably. Yeah. Well, unless they had some kind of specific marker.
I'm half kidding, sort of. But so I remember Bobby Kennedy got into a great deal of trouble because he said at some event, of course, the New York Post led the charge against him, of course, but that COVID could be tailored, or in fact, for whatever reason, COVID had disparate effects on populations.
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's scientifically true. And I was quite familiar with that literature when he made that comment.
What does that mean? Which populations suffered most from COVID?
There was a finding in a scientific publication that two different populations of people of Jewish ancestry, depending which line they're from, one was more heavily impacted than the other. Mm-hmm. And that was
Sephardic Ashkenazi.
Yes,
basically.
And that was the finding. And I think the point that he was trying to make, or maybe didn't articulate well, is that the agent can be tailored to have that effect, and that's absolutely true. And that's through old gain of function technology. And with full synthetics, what I'm saying is you can make this so specific is that if I get your DNA, like off of, say that you threw a cup, I can tailor an agent just to you. And this is how it's changing. And if you're using AI behind that, I could then, and I say that I got a DNA sample from a couple of your relatives, so I knew what your family tree partially looked like. Machine learning is very good at actually random forest and tree decision making. You could do a lot of complex AI behind this to figure out and make predictions that AI could about what your family tree looked like and have the disease travel through your family line. And this is nobody has ever asked me that question. I just generated that answer based on what I know, but I think that is a very real possibility, use or application of this type of technology. It also could be used, on the flip side of it, you could use it to target specific and rare cancers. And it could be used to eliminate those cancers cleanly and self-deactivate and decompose in a way that didn't harm your body. So this technology is going to could go two different ways, but it's coming because the medical applications and healthcare applications of it are there, and they will be extremely profitable. Imagine that you said, like, you have cancer. I don't have to give you a drug. I have to inject you with this synthetic, which will seek out the cancer, the tumor in your body, and contain it, kill it with no other harmful effects to your body, in theory. And like I say, in theory, because things always have side effects, right?
Of course. Yeah. And I just say in general, I would much rather live in a world where I risked dying of tetanus and the common cold than live in a world with this technology. It's not even close.
We're sorry to say it, but this is not a very safe country. Walk through Oakland or Philadelphia. Yeah, good luck. So most people, when they think about this, want to carry a firearm, and a lot of us do. The problem is there can be massive consequences for that. Ask Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse got off in the end, but he was innocent from the first moment. It was obvious on video, and he was facing life in prison anyway. That's what the anti-gun movement will do. They'll throw you in prison for defending yourself with a firearm. And that's why a lot of Americans are turning to Byrna. It's a proudly American company. Byrna makes self-defense launchers that hundreds of law enforcement departments trust. They've sold over 600,000 pistols, mostly to private citizens who refuse to be empty-handed. These pistols, and I have one, fire rock-hard kinetic rounds or tear gas rounds and pepper projectiles, and they stop a threat from up to 60 feet away. There are no background checks. There are no waiting periods. Byrna can ship it directly to your door. You can't be arrested for defending yourself with a Byrna pistol. Visit Byrna, BYRNA.com, or your local Sportsman's Warehouse to get yours today. Byrna.com.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.